It's imperative, as I've been going through Isaiah and see what's going on with us, and this is for the women, for the black women, of course, for women, period, but especially for the black women, you know, they keep saying how, I get my degrees, I make all this money and all this. Why am I still single? Okay, and I'm gonna refer to Isaiah chapter 3, verses 16 through 26, and then chapter 4, verse 1 of Isaiah. Okay, and it said, "Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with the scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. And in that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cause, and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers and the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings and the rings and nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel and the mantles, the wimples, the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle a rent, instead of well set hair baldness, and instead of a stomacher a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Then thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground." In chapter 4, verse 1, it said, "And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread, and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." Okay? So, black women, now you know what's happening. Because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks, and wanton eyes, and walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Okay? You all have risen to these heights in the corporate world and everything, and in education and all that, and have become arrogant about it, and have decided to, instead of, and this is not all of you, okay, but the ones, and you know who you are, okay, you do these things, and you want to look down on men because they may not have as much as you now, or anything like that, okay? You say, try to go and find different men from different ethnicities, and it still don't work because you have this attitude, this overinflated sense of yourself to look down on someone because, may make a little bit more or whatever, and have become haughty and with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes. Well, if he don't make more than me, then I ain't got to listen to him. I don't respect him. I'm not doing nothing, It's not all about money, And he will smite with the scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion. Our beautiful black, Judite women and whatnot. How many women are, edges are, thinning out, all the perms and the weaves, taking your hair out and the micro braids and all those things. Hair don't grow back right, because all the chemicals and things. Smiting that scab, And and the hair is a crown of woman, so your crown is being taken away and being replaced with weave. Some of you are shaving it off and putting in weave, or cutting it short, putting in weave, trying to, look whatever the image is. Okay? And then it said, "Will take away all the bravery of the tinkling ornaments about their feet." All those things that I read, the bonnets and the ornaments and the changes of clothes, will take all those things. Well, you still have them, but they don't mean much because you're still alone. All right? And all of those things mean nothing now. The cars, the big, deluxe pad, and everything else, because you're alone. And just simply fooling yourself with saying, "I don't need a man. I don't need," Well, it's starting to become very untrue, And the wanton eyes, and so these are the women. The fourth neck, and what did it say? A stretched forth neck and wanton eyes. These are the women who want to do like the men do. Take a guy home, sleep with him, kick him out, do all these things. Well, the men do it. Well, that don't make it right. Okay. And so then, in verse 25, it said, "Thy men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty in war." What's the, Well, it said, the men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty in the war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. So got all these beautiful things, but guess what's happening with men? They falling by the sword in the streets every single day. Okay? The mighty ones, you know, they're in jail, or they're falling dead on the streets. Okay? Or they're falling to, you know, perversions, you know. You know, I hear a lot of women talk about the download thing and whatnot. So you're losing the men. Okay? That's a punishment. All right? And the women are lamenting and mourning and are desolate without a man because their spirit is vexed, because they're alone. All the success and alone, and shall sit upon the ground. And then Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1 said, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. You know? So now women, you know, with the few men that's left, eligible, whatever they consider eligible, you know, these women are like, you know, they're fighting over the good ones now, you know, and not only fighting each other, you know, they're fighting women from different ethnicities who are, you know, who are not as haughty and know how to humble themselves with the right man, okay, not just anybody, with a respectable man, a good one, you know. No, and it said we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. You know, now some women are saying, look, don't worry about the money. I don't care, you know, about how much you make or whatever, you know. I just don't want to be alone. Because now a man's worth is starting to be more recognized. It's not just about the pocketbook, okay? That's good old social engineering. And now some of our women are paying for it, you know, for running good men away because their check is not as big as theirs, or they don't work in corporate America, or they don't drive a certain car or whatever, or live in a certain kind of house, or because they're not a certain skin tone, or because they're not a certain height, you know. And so now they're just like, it don't matter. I just don't want to be alone. And so this is what's happening, people. It's part of a punishment. But you know, we you know, have to change our ways. You know, we have to be obedient. You know, and that doesn't mean being a doormat to a man. That doesn't mean being putting up with abuse. Okay? That means for the women, when you know you have a good man and he works hard and he may not be as successful as you, don't judge him and forsake him and ridicule him because of it. Because it's real lonely at the top. That's all I got on that one.